Welcome back to New Day. You know, it's true that talent isn't always recognized, and in the case of entertainers, even the best of them have to fight to really stand out. But autistic actors have an even tougher challenge convincing people that they're right for a role. Meet Mickey Rowe, Seattle actor and author whose dream has always been to be on Broadway. His new book is Fearlessly Different, an autistic actor's journey to Broadway's biggest stage. And Mickey joins me now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here today.
We are honored to have you. I mean, Broadway, that is so crazy. What's that like?
You know what? It was so awesome to get to do a so sorry, my brain.
No,
it was so,
mine too today.
It was so awesome to get to do a fundraiser on Broadway and to get to fill such a huge stage. You know, as a young autistic person, I often thought that no one really cared about what I thought or what I felt, and especially as someone who was non-speaking early on. So it was so incredible to get to fill a whole theater of people who all cared about what I thought and my perspective.
And you are no stranger to the stage, but you said it's been really hard convincing people that you have what it takes. What are some of the misconceptions that you've faced on the stage?
Yeah, so I think that often autistic people and people with disabilities can be some of the best creative problem solvers in the whole world.
Yeah.
Because we have to be creative problem solvers every day just to navigate a world that wasn't designed for us. So there are so many obstacles people face every day. For instance, you know, it's estimated that up to 85% of autistic college graduates in the United States are unemployed. And that's something I've dealt with so frequently. So I've definitely faced obstacles and misconceptions as an autistic person, you know, after special ed, needing to stilt walk, busking on the street, as an autistic single dad with full custody of my autistic kids, to make ends meet while coming up with a plan to get to Broadway's biggest stage.
Okay, wow. Seriously, you should be so proud of just how hard that you've worked as a parent. You know, many parents, no matter what, it's such a challenge, but now you want to be on Broadway. You want to be an entertainer. So, for example, you were the first autistic actor to play Christopher Boone in The Curious Incident of the Dog. Tell me about this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was so lucky to get to be the first autistic actor to play Christopher Boone in Curious Incident. And it was such a fight to get people to understand. Back then, that was 4 years ago, people really didn't think that an autistic actor could play that role. People didn't think there was any value in including autistic people in stories about autism. But once I got cast, and once I was doing the show, I was getting letters and Facebook messages every day from thousands of people, most of whom wouldn't even get a chance to see the show in person, but just who wanted to let me know how life-changing it was for them to know a theater cast the show in this way, to know that someone valued allowing autistic people to tell their own stories.
To tell their own story instead of someone telling it for you,
Absolutely.
which is it. And speaking of telling your story,
Yeah.
let's talk about your book. What did you want to get across in writing this?
Yeah, I think that so often people want so desperately to fit in that they really forget what makes them stand out. And so I hope that my book helps people to feel brave enough to stand out.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you say, and I love this, authenticity is powerful, authenticity is sexy. Tell me about how that relates to how we value and we see each other.
Yeah, I think often young people with disabilities or young people with autism can feel like burdens. So frequently we can feel like burdens. And it's so important that we realize that you are not a burden, that the things about us that make us different, or that we might even sometimes feel like are our weaknesses, they are so valuable. And when you are brave enough to share all of yourself with the world, you are giving the world such a huge gift when you can do that.
I love that. That is such a good lesson. This is Autism Awareness Month. Inclusion in the arts is something that we need to focus on more, do you think?
Oh, I absolutely think so. You know, for Autism Acceptance Month, inclusion in the arts, I think, leads directly to inclusion in life. Because so often, the places that we learn about autism, the places we learn about disability, are movies and TV shows and books. I think about the book You Before Me or Wonder or TV shows like The Good Doctor and Atypical. where we get so much of our information about autism and disability, but none of these stories were actually written from people who have disabilities or are part of the community.
Portrayed by.
Correct, yeah. There are so many of these books too have been turned into movies that have been written by, directed by, acted by no one with autism or disabilities.
Right.
And often they don't even do outreach
Right.
to the community. So it's so important that we uplift stories that are actually written by the communities as well.
Yeah. We were just looking at some of the photos from your plays, and it's amazing. You actually also, you made it to Broadway. Number one, you're the first person I've ever met who is a Broadway star and who's made it to Broadway. But you gave the keynote and performance at the Gershwin, in fact. How did that feel?
You know, it felt so incredible. Like I said, it felt so incredible to know that people valued what an autistic person thought, what an autistic person had to say, because that is not something that we've always gotten to experience, people from my generation on the spectrum. So it felt so incredible, and I hope that everyone reads the book so that they too can feel what that felt like to me and get to experience all of those feelings and emotions.
I hope they do. This is beautiful, the book, Fearlessly Different, an autistic actor's journey to Broadway's biggest stage. Thank you, Mickey, so much for your time. And again, you did all this with 2 kids as a single dad. I can't even believe that. So
Thank you
bravo
so
for
much
that.
for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course.